I'm Dr. Willie Jolley. For those who are joining us, first-timers, I want to welcome you to Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, the broadcast. Taken from my book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, the book. 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. And we are grateful that we've been married for 36 years and 7 days and about 12 hours. And we got married in the afternoon. Not quite 12 hours, 7 hours. And we haven't had an argument in 33 years. That does not mean we always agree with each other.
So if we don't speed it up, we're going to have a disagreement right now.
So we are grateful for all of you joining us.
So our focus is on money and marriage.
Money and marriage and the challenges.
Yes. Lots of different kinds of challenges.
We've come up with some serious challenges that we've experienced.
Can we do a quick review?
Please.
As other people are coming. All right. So we started talking about, money and marriage. And the first question that we had was, what's your money personality?
Yeah.
That's kind of like where we started.
Now, could I interject? We were at a party. We've only been to 2 parties now since March of 2020. And we went to one last Thursday night with some people all vaccinated. And then we went to one the night before, July 4th. And it was fabulous. We had a great time. But she started talking to one of the people at the party who was intrigued when she talked about the
whenever I just start bringing up the topic, as I'm collecting information, just kind of seeing how valid the information that I've collected research-wise, and just having a conversation about money. Yeah. What do you think about money? All right. And I was sharing it on our program. We were talking about that people have different money personalities, how they grew up thinking about money, who told them about money, and then what do we as individuals think about money? And we identified that money actually falls into 5 basic categories. Now, they can have other kinds of names. As you do more research, the names might change, but the basic concepts of the money personalities do not change. And then it impacts your marriage. It impacts everything, because it's how you think about the dollars. And how you think about the dollars affects the economics of everything that you do, right?
Hey,
so here we go. So there are 5 basic money personalities. And now I've gotten to, it's like 2 S, 2 I's, and a D.
2 S, 2 I's, and a D. Well, why don't you tell them so people can remember?
Okay. So we've got the saver. We've got the spender. We've got the investor. We have the person who's indifferent. And then we have the debtor or the gambler. So I didn't know whether or not to go with the D or a G. Kind of like the D.
I like the G. Sig. I like Sig. Well, the gambler. So, some people are just gamblers. They
gamble. The gambler, they're not really concerned about the saving or anything. It's more of like an addiction. Okay, so we'll go with the G. The gambler, the debtor.
I think of debtor, I really think of somebody who's just a spender. They're always in debt. Okay. But a gambler. So we've got the 5 basic areas. Just think about where you are. So we have the saver. We've got this. Willie is the saver. You've got the one who's the spender. You've got the one who's the investor that I absolutely knew nothing about until I was well over the hill. Then you got the indifferent, which is what I was growing up, because I just never really thought about money because it was always there. And then you have the gambler or the debtor. You can't really can't help yourself. The gambler. You really can't help yourself. So what kind of, and you can be more of a combination of that, but one area tends to be more dominant. Then you grew up being the saver because your mama wouldn't buy you a bike, and your daddy was dead, and so you were. Yes, I was going to make that money. I was going to save that money, and my grandmother was an entrepreneur who taught us about saving. She never talked about investing. She talked about saving.
I never knew the difference until years later. I thought it was getting ahead by saving. Oh, but back then, when I say years ago, 2008 and before, you were getting 7 to 10% interest on money saved. That was really good.
Right.
And then that disappeared.
Right. Where's it now? 0.5?
You're doing great if you get 0.55 or 0.50, and you have like American Express and some other financial instruments that are saying, oh my God, this is really such a bargain that I'm going to give you 0.50 money. Now, those people in the investment space are saying, you know, that's nothing. So you got to have money in your emergency fund. So we'll get to that later, okay?
Right.
You got to have money in your emergency fund, but to make money, to have money grow, you've got to put it somewhere else other than under your mattress and save in a savings account.
Okay. So Terrence Senior asks, is buying a house an investment or a liability? You know, before we answer that question,
I can answer it.
I know you can, but let me say, part of the answer, Terrence, is the answer you and your wife come up. Because you know what? There are people who have an answer on both sides. But what do you and your wife say about it? How do y'all come as an agreement? What have y'all come up with as a couple? That's what we want to get to.
Yes.
Because that's the secret to our success as a marriage. We had to come to our commitment as a couple.
What's our definition as a couple gets to what will make us feel secure.
Right.
And in some arenas, a house is an investment. That's the thing that we were taught as people of color, and they still talk about that as the number one investment that people of color have is their house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, on the other side, people will say, should I mention names? There's some investment people.
There's some who say
a house is not an investment. Now, why is that? That a house is a liability. Because you still have ongoing expenses, even if it's paid for. So you have the liabilities of the upkeep. You've got the taxes. You have all those other things. And some say that a house becomes an asset if you're able to rent it or rent a portion of it, which a lot of people right here in Washington, D.C. are doing, and which I have said that we could do, but he said no. I'm like, you have empty space. We could rent out rooms. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. Now, because your mama
rented a room. Now let me go to the next. I mean, we can go down that path, Terrence, but I don't want to get too far. We would do a whole show on that. We said someone that won't buy a house because it's liability, so they just rent. The problem I have with that, when we were dating, or when we were newly married, really, when we were newly married, my wife said, let's rent an apartment. I said,
yes.
No. I said,
I did say that.
I said, no, I won't do that. I said, I want to own what I live in. And so I want that equity, because someone said it like this. When you pay your mortgage, you're buying a brick every month. You're buying a brick on that house. Now, after 30 years, you bought the house and the bricks because you bought it brick by brick by brick. Well, versus if you lived in the house for 30 years and you didn't buy any bricks, you just rented a brick. At the end of 30 years, you've got no bricks. You got nothing. You got no equity. Now, at least with the house, the brick by brick, yeah, you pay for it. It has some liability, but it also has the option that you can sell it and walk away with an investment. Now, I tell you right now,
because it's growing value.
Yeah, that's where I was getting ready to go to. Okay. We bought our house for $118,000. $118,000. It is
1987.
87. We can honestly say that it is past 10 times in value right now.
I like that. That's why I believe investment needs to be
defined clearly. Now let's talk over to
absolutely.
Linda Kazera has joined us from West Virginia. Hey, I don't know if I'll see your husband at Speakers Association Convention in Vegas, but I'm going there this week. Olympia.
I agree with Lynn. That's where I am now.
I was a saver.
Learning
now I'm
about
learning more investments. So you're learning more.
And so here's the thing I would say
as
I'm learning about investing is that we have to be careful about these like 5-word sentences. You need to invest. The house is not an investment. Or the house is an investment. You have to go down the road of doing the research to uncover what that statement really means. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. So what we're encouraging people to do is
to understand that this is a learning process and you keep learning, but you learn as a couple. That's what we really want to get to, because we've learned as a couple. She is constantly reading and reading and reading, and she's sharing with me, because I'm out there trying to.
He's not reading
at the same level.
Right.
I'm out there beating the bushes, trying to bring in more money.
Rule number 1 about.
Oh, speaking of that,
what?
Go to listen to my XM show this week, because my guest is Phil Town, no S, Phil Town, who started his investment career with $1,000. Now he's one of the biggest. He has a hedge fund and a multimillionaire. Has a New York Times best-selling book, Rule 1, which is
rule number 1, which is
never lose money.
And what's rule number 2?
Don't forget the rule number 1. The Buffett is value investing.
Warren Buffett value investing.
So it's going to air tomorrow at 6 and a Thursday at 6 on channel 141. But next week will be on my podcast. So good. Linda, we'll see you there. Thank you.
He's a great guy. He has an amazing story because he was a riverboat guide.
Making $4,000 a year.
Who saved one of his people on the tour from going over the end and drowning. And the guy said, "Oh my God, you saved my life. So I'm going to teach you how to be rich." And he was like, I don't think so.
I don't think
it's possible for me. Amazing. And just such good people. And after the interview, because of course I had read the book years ago, did not register. I read it this time. I was like, okay. And he has a seminar coming up. I said, Willie, tell Phil I need to be in the seminar.
He said we'll make it happen. We want to get motivated tour together.
Yes.
And he was a financial expert on the tour. So look, let's go back to what we want to talk about here. We've been getting so many responses, and we encourage everybody to continue to send us responses, questions. Do it. Send it via email, because some people have sent it via social media, and I can't find them. And my assistant, I don't know. I'm trying to figure. info@williejolly.com. info@williejolly.com. Any questions? Any concerns?
Or comments, or something else that you would like to see, or something else that you want explained.
Right. info@williejolly.com. Now let's talk about two of the things we've gotten this week. One is, and two of them were very similar, but one is, what do you do when your mate, particularly the husband, did not keep his word about the financial promises he made to support the family? Not that he was squandering the money, he was not making enough money and was not being ambitious or aggressive enough in making more money. The wife said, I kept saying, we need more money. We're upside down. We got more needs. We need you to go in and ask for a raise. But he didn't want to do that, or whatever. And he didn't want to push his position where he was a hard worker, well respected in his company, but he had not gotten a raise in a long time, or gotten what he was due. He was not due what he was due. And she said, go in and tell him I need to make more money. I got a wife and 2 kids and stuff. And so she was upset about that. And they got a plan to get out of debt and what it was going to take to do that. But then he did not keep his part of the deal.
Now you have to say, we only heard one side.
I only got one side, but I'm just going with what I have been told.
Yes.
Okay. That's all we got is the letters and the conversations we've had.
Yes.
And she said it impacted her sex life.
So, well, she didn't say sex.
Same difference.
No.
She said I didn't find him attractive anymore, so we weren't getting it on.
The word was intimacy. Intimacy.
You know what I'm talking about? Come on, somebody.
The word was intimacy. Our intimacy is gone.
It's gone. Because
she doesn't find it attractive because he's not meeting those financial needs.
So, I said 10 minutes ago that it will impact her second life. She says, oh no, it's intimacy and attraction, and she ain't giving them none. Come on, somebody.
She didn't really say she wasn't giving him any. But they're living in two separate places now, right?
Yeah. What y'all saying? Anyway, that all, it was like a sweater that unraveled because of the money. Now, look, what we're saying to people is this, that money plays a part in every part of your life, in your marriage, in your relationship. And he said, why didn't she come up with a way to bring in additional funds? She was, but she was time locked in her career, was very time locked. She was humping, but she had a lot of time needed for the career she had. But she was also saying that she, believe it or not, she said, I just come from a paternalistic mindset, that the man is supposed to be the provider. And I told her that what we have been telling people, we go back to what the book says. If you don't have the book, go get it. We talk about women need two things. Gentlemen, those who are watching, whether you're watching now or watching later, they need intimacy and security. What is security? It's not just security about you running around. This guy was a great guy. He did a good dad, no running around, but security in him. I got you. I got you.
So my question, because she was really talking to him and I was having another conversation with somebody else and I was ear-jacking over here. See?
You learned some stuff.
Ear-jacking.
You ear-jacking.
So I'm thinking, well, if she have that kind of conversation, that honest kind of conversation
goes back to
with her husband.
But it goes back to communication. And we're going to go back to the three things that break up marriages. Folks, these things are principles. Principle-based success in marriage. Communication, sex, and money.
So how do you start a conversation with your mate? I don't find you I'm not sexually attracted to you because you're not bringing in enough money. Is that what you're saying? So
without no romance, without no finances.
So how do you have a conversation?
What did Dan Gatsby?
Anybody have any suggestions?
What did Dan Gatsby say?
Conversation about
what
that.
Did Dan,
I don't find you attractive.
Dan Gatsby said, romance without finance has no chance.
But I don't think you would say that. I mean, come on now. Let's be serious. How does somebody bring up the subject? Anybody have
all I can think of? Hey, Cheryl Johnson Foley from Houston. Thank you.
How do you bring up the subject?
You know,
if that's not appealing to you, I feel insecure because you're not bringing in enough money. Do you say that? Some people are not able to say that.
Well,
and so they mask it and they have disagreements. They make up stuff so then you're not intimate and you get in the bed and you turn your back on that person. How do you have that kind of conversation?
Well, let me ask you a question, Dee.
Let me ask you one of the greatest questions.
Let me ask you a question, Dee.
Ask, how much money do you need monthly to satisfy your needs?
All right. Well, let me ask you a question.
That suggests the budget. Yes,
let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
If I were spending or frivolous with the money, would you figure out a way to tell me?
Yes, I would.
Now, see, you would make it clear.
But that's my personality.
That's what the secret of our marriage is. We've been able, the reason we don't argue and the reason why we have had a wonderful friendship as well as marriage is that
I need more money.
We need more money up in here. And we're looking at what do we got to get done? Let's get a plan.
Here's what we got right here. And here, we need this. What are we going to do?
We come up with a plan and we go to work. We do not attack each other. We attack the problem. We make that a point. Do not attack each other. And so I would say, but you know what? Again, it goes back to if you don't communicate, then it thought to unravel every which way. And there's one
and then we just kind of
situation.
Go back to, I don't know how
to. Let's get back to talking. You gotta have open and honest communication. Now, here's what Dee does so well. She thinks about what she's going to say before she says it. She crafts it in her brain.
But you know
you gotta think about your words before you get them out your mouth.
But part of that is that I would not want to say anything that would adversely affect your self-esteem.
Yeah, but why?
Your self-esteem is attached to your career.
That's right.
And the career brings in the money.
So
I want you to be Hercules all the time.
So you can bring in money
to me.
And so
I want to say, go out there. You can do it. You can do it.
You figured it out. That she encourages me rather than criticize me. That is big, folks, big. If you will encourage your significant other and empower them and inspire them.
I
and
don't
push
read
them.
this one.
All right, Ricky, R. Hodges, R. Ricky.
I'm in, read that.
I'm in my batterers class. Most, if not all, of the men in the class said the issue started because of money.
Oh.
And it escalated, and that's how they ended up in a batterers intervention class. Wow.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know there was such a thing. Thank you so much.
Wow, that's big. So what we're saying to people is, want you to start having more open and honest conversations.
So maybe we need to go back to how do we
talk about the money?
Approach an open and honest conversation.
Chapter number 8, page 125.
Communicating your feelings, needs, and frustrations.
Okay, I'll read. This is from Will D. When Willie and
Can I read my own?
You may. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. Oh, what did I say? When Willie and I first began seeing each other, I was not comfortable sharing my feelings openly. I'd already been introspective and reserved, but Willie helped me to learn that true friends share their feelings with each other. It goes back to
true friends. You talk
friends. Okay,
you cut that off. True friends share.
I'm not done, but I was just saying that was important.
You didn't say that whole line.
Oh,
you did your friend.
True friends share each other's feelings with each other. They are vulnerable with each other, and they commiserate together by sharing special moments that others just don't get. They work hard at understanding each other, just like when I lost my job, when the plane went down over the Potomac, all that stuff happened. And we were friends, and I called us.
The next chapter is very important.
Okay. With that in mind, I made a conscious decision to work on communicating my thoughts, fears, frustrations, and exactly what I was thinking and feeling. It was very hard for me to figure that out. This was very hard for me because I had always been an introvert. I learned to share my feelings with Willie because he took the time to listen to me. So in some instances, it's just a matter that you listen. It's not that you had an answer. I just needed to share what I was feeling.
Right.
I would practice what I wanted to say to Willie in my head first, often for hours, until I felt I could express exactly what I was feeling, and he listened. Sharing my innermost thoughts is easy now because I have practiced it for years with him.
Woo! God Almighty.
Does he always agree with me? No.
But I listen.
Now, because we talk about such a variety of things, just like we had a date this evening. This was a holiday. We worked for a couple of hours, and then we had a date. We went out to eat. You know where we went? Wawa! We went to Wawa in Georgetown. And as he got his sandwich, I walked to the corner and listened to music. Little guy did playing music. And then we just
sat outside at a table and ate and talked. And then we said, well, we got to go home. Let's go. We got to get ready for the show. So we rode around at the waterfront and looked, and she gave me some of the things she does when she walks in the morning.
I pointed out to some sites and particular things I like to see down on the waterfront. Next, tips for improving your communication with your wife.
All right, there's a thing, folks. Listen.
Oh, it's 5 things. Just take time to listen.
Listen.
And sometimes he just he's driving. I'm like, what did I just say? That's where we are at this point. He'll say, you said so and so. I say, okay, you're listening. Don't jump to conclusions.
Don't jump to conclusions.
Don't try to fix anything. Don't jump to conclusions and make assumptions, really. Mm-hmm. And number 3, don't try to fix the problem.
Men have a habit of wanting to fix it. I got to fix this problem. No, yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'm getting better. Oh, that's great.
He said he went from a D to a C. That's good. That's
you know good. What? Listening is really a fine art because sometimes you need to say,
Like Cheryl said, communication, honesty, and being transparent with each other is important in a relationship. Absolutely. And finding the person who you can share with. And that takes time to be able to say, I need to talk to you about something I'm dealing with. Okay, go ahead. Next.
Forces don't even search for solutions. Wow. Because once you start to try, let me think you're not listening.
You're not listening. And
you're not listening to the emotional stuff that's coming out, at least in my words. Just listen, acknowledge, and sit quietly, absorbing the words. This style of listening means a lot to women because a lot of times women just want to talk.
They want to
and
talk.
it's just important that they know you are. He's really
all right. So let's
good
go
at
back
that.
to Ricky Harges talks. What I want to say is that there's a batter's class, and that means that batter's class is that you get off track. And you may have become physical, put your hands on them, I assume.
Or verbal, we don't know.
Or verbal battering. But it starts with communication, one. And two, with the money, understanding that the money is tied because it can all unravel. It just unravels. And it starts that the sex gets involved and the money gets involved.
But the thing that we're saying about the different money personalities, because you're each looking at this pot of money differently.
Right. It goes back to your personality.
Because your culture and how you see it is different. So until you get that on the table, you're always going to be. I understood he a saver. He was cheap. Okay, let's go. You know,
proud of it. And still to this day, proud.
So we talk about that. Right?
We talk about it.
So we work with that.
Except to her, I buy whatever she wants. Whatever she says.
So I am very aware that he will spend his money on me. So I have to be careful. Like the other day, the lady.
Yeah, she said, "Oh, a beautiful grand piano."
Our neighborhood advisory person was over because we had an alley party for people in our neighborhood. She came and said, "Oh, a baby grand piano." I said, "Be careful of what you ask for." I said to my hubby that I love the baby grand piano. He bought me one, and to this day, I cannot play. It's a beautiful
piece of furniture.
Okay,
it's a beautiful piece of furniture.
I know he loves me. It was an expensive piece of furniture that I cannot play, but every time I see it, I say he's so loving and kind, and he gets all kinds of perks because he has the piano. Bought me the piano.
I'll buy that piano again tomorrow, I tell you, for the perks.
So,
hello. All right, look. Thank you, Terrence, for saying another awesome broadcast. Thank you for saying another awesome broadcast. And I want to thank
thank you, Ricky.
Ricky, thank you, Ricky, for sharing that. That's really good to hear. That we want to help gentlemen not be batterers, but be lovers to their wives. Just like I treat her well. And that's because we talk and we communicate and we work on the money together. So and we keep our word. Everybody keeps their word.
Communication then is an ongoing thread that maybe some other ideas that we need to talk about in the segment, because communication is major to everything.
All right, we got a lot going on, folks. We are really working. Our time is just about up. We want to encourage you to send us your questions.
Info
at williejolly.com. I know some have sent by social media, and my assistant has to say,
she has to send them to us.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Ricky. And I thank you, Terrence, and all the other folks, Cheryl Johnson Foley and Olympia and Linda and who else is here? All the other people, Sherry Elliott, all the folks who are joining us. Continue to tell people we've moved over here to A Jolley Marriage on Facebook, A Jolley Marriage on Instagram. 9 o'clock. Join us and be with us. Tell everybody you know. Put it out on your social media. Tell them to subscribe. Tell them we want to be a part of it. It's part of our need to help more marriages stay together. So we are wanting to save 1 million marriages, enhance 1 million marriages. Go to ajollymarriage.com. Now you can get the book and everything at ajollymarriage.com. Get 2 copies of the book. I highly recommend. Get 2 copies. Whether you're married or single, we got people who are
because the exercises in the back of each one are very
different.
That's
right. And there's a chapter
to see how each other thinks often about the same kinds of situations.
And there's a chapter for single people, because we went somewhere the other day and people said, what about the single people? Chapter for single people. Please go and do that. Get the whole bundle, in fact. 2 books, 2 workbooks, a CD on seminar, and an audio book. Get the whole bundle. It's worth the investment in your marriage and your relationship. You spend money going to a movie or a dinner, spend maybe $300-400, and then boop.
Jolly out.
We got to go. Our time is up. Jolly out. See y'all next week. Have a great week. God bless you on purpose. Bye-bye.